English 122, Day 26, Analyzing Field Research Data, from Writing Arguments, pages 101 to 103. There are many types of field research data that you will use in your public campaign, and each different type of information brings with it certain risks for potential doubts that the audience might have, or ways that the audience might question the validity of the information that you have gathered. First, consider data from personal experience. This is information that you've gathered from some sort of first-hand account, something that you experienced personally yourself. With this type of information, skeptics might argue that your personal experience examples are insufficient, that your account is not typical, or that the information you have provided is not adequately scientific or verifiable. Also consider data gathered from observations. This is just slightly different from data from personal experience in that the observations are gathered in real time, not something that happened in the past. This type of data is usually gathered through fieldwork. In this case, skeptics may point to flaws in how the observations were conducted. They may show that some of the data are insufficient, that some of the data are inaccurate, or that some of the data are non-typical. Also consider data that's gathered from interviews. Typically, interviews get information from one person who is an expert on a particular topic. In this case, skeptics can raise doubts about the research methodology, or they could raise doubts about the typicality of interview subjects. In addition to interviews, consider data that's gathered from surveys and questionnaires. In this case, skeptics can raise doubts about the research methodology. Make sure the numbers add up to 100 if you're using a percentage. Skeptics could also raise doubts about the questionnaire design, pointing to areas of bias. Or they can raise doubts about the typicality of the survey respondents. Also consider data from testimony, which is gathered through second-hand accounts. In this case, skeptics might question the credentials of the source, showing the source's bias, or they could quote a potential counter source, someone who disagrees. Finally, when all field methods have been exhausted, consider using data from your library research. In this case, skeptics might doubt the accuracy of the facts you are providing. They could doubt the credentials of the source you are using. They could doubt the research design of the study that has been published, or they could cite different studies that have produced different results. Remembering the STAR criteria, skeptics could also raise doubts about the sufficiency of data, doubts about the typicality of the data, or doubts about the relevancy of the research data. Pull information from multiple types of sources as you work to gather appropriate field research data to prove your public campaigns.